Good morning. I'm Chris Phillips, but many of you who have gone to church here for a while probably know me more as Luke's dad. So I want to start with a little bit of my second grade wisdom that I'm learning along with Luke. His favorite phrase of the school year is never eat soggy waffles. And that is the way that in second grade you learn north, south, east, west. Never eat soggy waffles. And I'm loving my time back in elementary school and learning alongside Luke. I found out that first you learn about yourself and then about your family. And now in second grade it's about your community. And then slowly his worldview will widen, our neighborhood, our city, and then someday he'll get to the country and to our world. And all of that starts with the cardinal directions and never eat soggy waffles. So those cardinal directions, and then it's going to be inches, miles, years, dollars, all the ways we measure our lives. And I'm realizing that they're really important second grade topics, but they're important for us also. You may have heard that our stewardship theme this year is return, rebuild, replenish. And if you follow along with me here for a minute, you'll see how I connect return, rebuild, replenish with north, south, east, west, and this hilarious phrase, never eat soggy waffles. To return and to rebuild means you need to know what direction you're going. Are you back in church and asking new questions after a pandemic, or maybe after you lost a parent or a friend? Are you trying to create or recreate a faith life for yourself, maybe because you want to look forward to feeling that joy of Christmas as you did when you were a kid? Or maybe you're back here like my family, still in a pandemic, trying to build up yourself in your community, trying to figure out where we sit in all of this. What Luke and I both could tell you is that we all need to know how to find our way home. We need to know what it feels like to find our big family. And this is elementary school stuff, but it's adult stuff also. And at 7th Avenue and 7th Street, this has become a home for me and for my family, and it's a place we can return to again and again. And when I see what we've rebuilt downstairs with the classrooms full of kids and gathering places for us to talk, it makes me really excited to see what's next for this place. And replenish is the last word of this theme, and it's the one that I most meaningfully connect with All Saints. I don't know if you remember, some of you have been here for a while, but I first found my way here almost 10 years ago. And I wasn't a member here then. I was a member of a very busy, very formal, very different Manhattan church, and I loved it there. Our church had a really amazing HIV and AIDS ministry, and I was on the vestry, and my husband Rich and I were married there and had been members for more than a decade. But then Rich and I realized that we wanted to be parents more than anything else in the world. And along with starting the adoption process, I had this strange and sudden feeling that I needed a different faith community. It was a total surprise calling. And at that time in my life, I had never been so restless or so afraid. I thought as gay men, Rich and I would never be selected to be adoptive parents. And honestly, I was worried if we were selected, I would have no idea how to raise a baby. And then on that more practical side, I had this unsettled feeling of needing a spiritual home closer to our physical home on Sterling Place. I had this vision of an altar that I could walk to from our front door at home, a place where church neighbors were also our neighbors in real life. So I needed that strong, quiet place to replenish myself and build myself up while Rich and I waited through the long adoption process. And God willing, at that time I was looking for a church that felt like the right place to raise our baby if we would be given that chance. So that's where I was when I started quietly dropping in on All Saints. I was pulled towards this church, magnetized that same way that Luke feels in a compass. I was sitting in the back row, wearing a sweatshirt, peering at the parents here, and I saw the parents, some of them here today, hugging their kids, tugging tiny socks onto their little babies, and I wondered what God had planned for me and for Rich. So we know how the story ends. Luke was born in October 2015, and he's the greatest gift that we can imagine, a gift that I could never repay. And this is the place where my spiritual well was replenished, and our greatest prayer was answered here. And since then, this place has been the spot for my family to learn and laugh and ask some hard questions. I remember 1-year-old Luke in my arms. I came here to cry after the results of the previous presidential election. And I came to this beautiful place to learn challenging things about racial justice, and I struggled through a difficult job search. This is also the spot where Luke was promoted from sheep to angel in the Christmas play. And this is the place where, after long, hard weeks of remote school and remote work, we somehow figured out how to do Facebook church together. This is a place where my mother now considers herself an honorary member, and the place where I got to check out the new Sunday school room and teach Sunday school last weekend. So Rich and Luke and I have found loving friends here and found this to be the right place for us to listen for God's call to our family. Now, you might not know this, but I work in sales. I'm really glad to be in a community where what we do in our jobs does not matter at all. But because I do work in sales, I can't let myself off the hook without talking a little more directly about money. So I work on commission, so that means our money does not come in evenly at all. There's very good months and some months that are not so good, and it can be hard to balance it all. We know about the cost of childcare, taxes, bills, and now inflation. And my inspiration lately comes from Raphael Warnock, the senator and the pastor in Georgia. And he says that a budget is a moral document. And that is my favorite concept that came out of all of the noise of this last election. And if the federal budget is a moral document, according to Senator Warnock, then I think we can see our own budgets that way too. So I want to encourage all of us to measure carefully and see which direction our hearts point as we head towards the new year. How can all of our families' budgets be this moral document set towards helping, rebuilding, and replenishing this church? So like Steve said, we have a stewardship goal of $250,000. And I know from my work on my sales team, it's really important to give voice to our goal, say it out loud, and talk about how we can get there together as a team. And I know from being Luke's dad that we need to know our own north and south and east and west, and we need to magnetize ourselves towards that home. So when I get home today, I'm going to go online, put in my pledge to support this place and all the amazing work and love that shines out from this corner. And I hope that all of you will join us in that pledge. And if you have pledged already, thank you very much.